Europe today faces an unprecedented migration crisis. Millions of people crossing seas and borders from Africa, the Middle East, and South Asia into the European Union. The political and cultural tremors have been immense. Yet, while the scale and speed of today's mass migration are unique in modern times, Europe has lived through great demographic upheavals before history offers several striking precedents and cautionary lessons. The closest historical parallel is the so-called migration period, often known as the barbarian invasions. As the Roman Empire weakened, waves of peoples, Goths, Vandals, Huns, Lombards, Franks, Angles, Saxons and Slavs pushed into Roman lands. Some fled from violence on the steppes, while others were drawn by the wealth and stability of the Roman world. The result was civilizational transformation. The Western Roman Empire fell, and Europe's ethnic and political map was completely rewritten. The migration of that era set the foundations for medieval Europe. The parallels with today are clear. Large groups moving from poorer or war-torn regions toward a prosperous and aging civilization, bringing with them new cultures and beliefs that would, over time, reshape the host societies. Following the rise of Islam, Arab and Berber armies swept across the Middle East, North Africa, and into Spain. Though initially conquests, these movements soon became mass migrations and settlements. The transformation was permanent. By 750 AD, much of the Mediterranean world had changed in language, religion, and culture. In a way, the modern crossings of the Mediterranean represent a historical reversal, not armies now, but civilians, moving north from the same lands that once conquered and settled parts of Europe. During the Viking Age, Scandinavian raiders and settlers moved across the seas into Britain, Ireland, France, and Eastern Europe. Around the same time, the Magyars, ancestors of modern Hungarians, entered the Carpathian Basin. These migrations were smaller in scale than today's refugee flows, but they still produced lasting demographic and political changes, leading to new kingdoms, blended cultures, and the foundations of nations that still exist today. As the Ottoman Empire advanced into Europe, millions of people were moved, converted, or resettled under imperial rule. The Balkans saw centuries of cultural and religious blending and tension as Islam became rooted in southeastern Europe. It was another example of a southern and eastern population shift northward, altering the balance of faiths and ethnicities in the region. The end of the Second World War produced one of the largest migrations in recorded European history. Tens of millions of people were displaced, Germans expelled from Eastern Europe, refugees fleeing the Soviet advance, and survivors searching for new homes. While enormous in scale, these movements were largely intra-European. The migrants shared languages, religions, and histories that made eventual assimilation possible. Today's migration into Europe is different. Modern transportation, collapsing states, and vast economic inequality have driven millions from Africa, the Middle East, and South Asia to Europe's borders. The challenges are new. The speed and magnitude are unmatched in peacetime. The cultural distance between migrant and host populations is often far greater than in past migrations. And unlike ancient times, modern Europe is a post-industrial, aging society with declining birth rates and struggling welfare systems. Europe, once the world's greatest exporter of people, has now become the world's greatest magnet for migration. Every great migration in European history brought turmoil, but also transformation. The Roman Empire fell, but medieval Europe was born. The Viking and Magyar invasions gave rise to new nations. The Ottoman migrations reshaped the Balkans for centuries. What we are witnessing today may be a similar turning point in European civilization, a demographic and cultural shift whose full effects will only be understood generations from now. History does not repeat, but it often rhymes. Europe has seen migrations remake it before, And each time, the continent that emerged was never quite the same.